Welcome to this episode of Health Reversion. You're here with Adrian, and in this episode we're going to be looking at UV rays and whether they're your friend or your foe. UV or ultraviolet rays are made up of UVA, UVB and UVC. When it comes to UVC, this particular ray doesn't actually reach the surface of the Earth. It doesn't get past the ozone layer, which is sitting up in the atmosphere. So for the purposes of this video, we will concentrate exclusively on UVA and UVB and the implications that they have on your health. With respect to UVB, not all of the rays reach the Earth's surface. Some of the rays are attenuated by the atmosphere, and the special thing about UVB rays is that as the sun is rising in the morning, it has a lot of atmosphere to travel through, and that is something that the UV rays struggles with. So not as much of it reaches the Earth's surface in the morning as it's got all of that atmosphere to cover. As the sun gets higher in the day and the atmosphere gets thinner, when it's overhead between, say, the hours of 10 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon, that's when the UVB rays has the smallest amount of atmosphere to travel through and is likely to have most of the rays reaching the Earth's surface. With respect to UVA, most of this reaches the Earth's surface, and it's not impacted greatly by the amount of atmosphere that it travels through. So in the morning, and you're looking out and you can see the sun is starting to rise, the amount of UVB rays won't be as much, but the amount of UVA rays will be fairly consistent and will obviously increase to the peak of the day and then decline again. But it's always going to travel through that atmosphere and reach the Earth's surface, regardless of whether it's early in the morning, midday, or in the evening. In our society, it seems to be generally accepted that sun exposure is something to avoid. We've got to cover up, we've got to slip, slop, slap. It's dangerous to be in the sun. So let's have a deeper dive look into that. When considering UVA and UVB, UVB rays are the rays that are responsible for sunburn. So when you've been out in the sun for an extended amount of time and you've got that overexposure and your skin has turned red, that is the result of overexposure to the UVB rays. UVB is also potentially linked to many of the instances of skin cancer. However, on the flip side, UVB is what leads to the natural, innate production of vitamin D in our skin as cholesterol is broken down. So UVB on the one hand can be unpleasant and can result in sunburn, but on the other side, it is responsible for the production of vitamin D, which is great for bone health and just all-round vitality. Switching over to UVA now. UVA is not responsible for the sunburn and not related as much to the skin cancers, but what it is related to is aspects of skin aging, so particularly around wrinkles and also around skin pigmentation. A really important point to take note of though in regards to UVA is that when the UVA rays hit your skin, it actually releases nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a substance that actually helps you live longer. It helps to relax the blood vessels, and it also plays a role in increasing insulin sensitivity. So in a nutshell, when exposed to the sun, the UVB rays will provide that wonderful vitamin D production, and the UVA rays will provide that nitric oxide production. So they're the two main key benefits from the sun. Vitamin D is talked a lot about, but the nitric oxide isn't talked extensively about. And then on the negative side, or on the flip side of the good benefits, the UVA can lead to sunburn and some types of skin cancers, and the UVA can lead to premature aging. Perhaps you've heard of the leather bag term, where somebody that's getting constant exposure over long periods of time to the sun, the collagen gets damaged, the collagen production in the skin, and they end up having very saggy skin. Now, as always, and particularly as I promote on this channel, we are all individuals. So the suggestion to get sun exposure by some medical professionals isn't without, considering your individual characteristics, such as your skin type, and any medications that you might be on that are going to increase your sensitivity to the sun exposure. So let's look at some strategies to take advantage of these really wonderful health benefits that the sun offers, while minimizing the not so wonderful effects of skin cancers, sunburn, and general aging. So the first thing is to look at ways that you can allow sun exposure on your body in the morning before the peak period of around, say, 9 to 10 a.m. The rays that are reaching the earth at that time, so before, let's just call it 9:30 in the morning, the rays that are reaching the earth's surface at that time are more likely to be beneficial for you than result in sunburn and negative consequences. And then in the afternoon, say around that 2:30, 3 p.m. mark, again, the rays that are hitting the Earth's surface at that time have greater amounts of atmosphere, so the UVB rays are not as strong, and then you've got the UVA rays that are giving you that nitric oxide production, and so the benefits may outweigh any of the disadvantages or negative health implications at those times. So to quickly recap on that, we're looking before 9:30 in the morning, and we're looking at after 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. During the peak times during the day, let's call it between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., any extended exposure of longer than, say, 10 or 20 minutes is something that could result in those negative health consequences in relation to sunburn and the potential link to skin cancers. So if you are going out in the sun during those peak times between 10 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon, just keeping those times to short, brief, maybe 10-20 minutes max, or obviously sticking to shade, wearing covered clothing, etc. And finally, if you'd like to ramp up your own natural sun protection from within, consider your omega-3 intake. If your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is favorable towards the omega-3s, so for instance, if you eat good quality wild-caught ocean fish on a regular basis, that's a really good source of omega-3s. And if you're able to simultaneously stay away from the omega-6 foods, such as pretty much all of the vegetable oils that are available on the market, then that ratio there is going to act, that increased omega-3 ratio is going to act as a natural, innate sun protection. This has been a short video today, getting straight to the point and providing the facts that you can take away and do further research on or implement in order to get those wonderful benefits of the vitamin D production and the nitric oxide. Thank you for watching through to the end of this video. If you didn't get anything out of this video, give it a thumbs down. If you did get something out of this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. In the meantime, I ask that you keep well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.